Today on For the Record.
It really is an emotional journey. It is the music of my lifetime.
Rich Engler, the man behind thousands of Pittsburgh's biggest concerts.
Music was my life, and I was not necessarily wanting to make a fortune.
His reflections and some inside stories involving the biggest names in music.
It was kind of my duty, I thought, to bring the music to the people, and that's what I did.
For the Record starts now. Welcome to For the Record. I'm Michelle Wright. Today, part one of my two-part interview with the legendary Pittsburgh concert promoter, Rich Engler. He shares stories about some of the biggest names in music and reveals details you've likely never heard before. But first, some reflections from the thousands of shows he's helped put on here in the Steel City.
Thank you so much for having us in your home with your amazing collection. I want to get to all the juicy details of all the behind the stage things that you've done. How many shows have you promoted here in Pittsburgh?
Well, Pittsburgh, surrounding areas, and in some other states, over 6,000.
So you know some stories.
And climbing, oh, many stories, many.
That's why we're here. So we're going to hear some fun stories. But first, I want to talk to you about the significance of what you have done. If you have been to a show in the Pittsburgh area, in my lifetime anyway, there's a good chance that Rich had something major to do with it. You're bringing these acts in. Let's talk about what you do as a promoter. What is that?
Well, a promoter is a producer, a person that puts on concerts, but what a promoter really is a big-time gambler.
A gambler? Why do you say that?
Because you're laying a lot of money down on the table on an attraction that's going to sell, maybe and maybe not. And the deals these days, and even back when, were they kept getting more stringent and more expensive every year, and now the price of these artists are really outrageous because they can't sell records anymore, and they have to deal with live performances to make their money. So what I really do, though, is I pick an artist that may be touring in the Northeast for Pittsburgh, and I then go to a venue that artist could fit. So if, like I'm working on Ringo's Starr right now. So if Ringo wants to do theaters, I'll check my availabilities for the Heinz Hall or the Benedum. The Benedum, which I used to own when it was the Stanley Theater with my partner, Pat DeCesar. And I will match up the availabilities with Ringo to the venue, and then I will go on sale with the tickets and advertise. And advertising sometimes costs around $20,000 to $25,000 on your radios, TV station, and other radio stations, and it's a big nut. Most of the time, it's about 80% of the audience before the promoter can make money. So it's an expensive proposition.
And it is a gamble.
And it is a gamble, yes. I tell this story every once in a while, that while we're talking about profit and loss, I made a lot of money over time, of course. But my biggest loss was $400,000 in one day. I had at Three Rivers Stadium a show called The Monsters of Rock with Van Halen, big, Metallica, big, Scorpions, big, and I think it was the name of the show, Monsters of Rock. Parents told the kids, you can go to anything but Monsters of Rock, just because they didn't like the name.
And you lost $400,000.
In a day.
How did you take that?
I I never cry over the losses, but I suffered over that one. That's for sure. I didn't make a 10 cents for a year, nor did my partner, but we were able to keep all of the staff on that we had, and we were able to keep the Stanley Theater running and going. And I then started to book as many shows as I thought I could to bring in revenue. The shows weren't even happening for 6 or 8 months, but the revenue was coming in from the ticket sales, because we owned the ticket company back then. Like, we were bigger than Ticketmaster because Ticketmaster didn't exist. So, like on the Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen, I had all 65,000 tickets sitting on my desk.
That's incredible. What a responsibility. So you've mentioned Ringo, Springsteen, and I started making a list, and then I stopped because it's really any and everybody that I know you've brought in. When I'm looking down here at your collection, which is too big to even show on camera, it's enormous. It really is an emotional journey. It is the music of my lifetime.
Well, that's good.
You know, and so how does it feel to have all of this?
I'm kind of numb to it. It's because it was part of my life all along, and I started with a few guitars whenever I was not thinking, and I had like 20 or 30 guitars stashed in our attic, and I come home with Bob Dylan's guitar signed, and Cindy said, "What are you going to do with that?" I said, "I'm going to put it up in the attic." She goes, "I don't know, you better see how many's up there." And we found that there was, I don't know, 20 or so guitars up there, and I said, "You know what, I'm going to start getting either a guitar from the artist or giving them a guitar, having them play it, and putting it in a collection."
And I'm happy to say, for the very first time right here on For the Record, you're allowing us to show your collection. Tell me why.
Well, the collection is now available, all at one time, not individually. So there are 235 guitars, perhaps the largest one-of-a-kind autograph collections in the world, and it's right here. And people can go to richengler.com and inquire, and they can talk to one of my representatives, and if they have the wherewithal, they can come and see it. They have to have the wherewithal first.
Tell me, when I'm looking around, I'm just thinking about how important music has been in my life. Why should Pittsburghers care about all the work that you've done? How important is music in the world?
Well, in the beginning, in 1969, when I first opened my first company as Go Attractions, music was my life, and I was not necessarily wanting to make a fortune. I wanted to get my music, which was the new artists, out for people to hear. It was kind of my duty, I thought, to bring the music to the people, and that's what I did. So I did this big free concert at Flagstaff Hill, free, and jammed it. And then afterwards, again, I was thinking, wow, if I would have only charged $5. And that, after that day, I started charging $5. Well, ticket prices were $4.50, $5.
I remember those days.
For the Rolling Stones, for everything. I mean, it was like outrageous. And now it's gone berserk, really. It's disgusting.
Almost unaffordable.
It's disgusting, really, that the service charges and the upcharges and the dynamic ticketing, it's all so wrong, so wrong.
Why do you get emotional thinking back about those beginning days?
My life. That's it. This is what I do.
Still ahead on For the Record.
Aerosmith, they like to rip up rip up things.
The candid concert promoter, Rich Engler's inside stories, and the music legend to whom he once had to give a major pep talk. Welcome back to For the Record. As we continue my conversation with legendary Pittsburgh concert promoter Rich Engler, listen to what he has to say about some of the big stars he's worked with.
When you think back about all the artists that you've worked with and that you've brought in, I have to ask you, who is, in your opinion, the biggest star you've worked with?
I thought you were saying the biggest pain.
That's going to be my next question.
That's going to be the second one.
Yeah, we'll get to the juicy details of that in a second.
Well, there are so many. Surprisingly, Paul McCartney, James Taylor. Oh, geez, just so many. That Graham Nash. Several of these guys I played golf with many times. Steve Miller. Country, Tim McGraw. I played basketball with Tim McGraw. And yeah, there's just a lot of down-to-earth great guys. And then there's some wild childs out there that...
Tell me that now. Who are the wild childs?
Well, I'd say probably some of the wildest would have been Aerosmith. They like to rip up things.
So we've heard all the stories behind the stage. We've imagined how rock stars live behind the stage. You know, spill the tea. I want to know, who is the most high maintenance person?
High maintenance would be Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, Mellencamp. You'll have to see his stage pass over there later on. Not suited for TV.
So they're a little high maintenance, but why do you say that?
Because they all have an ego. Well, everybody has an ego to some degree, and some are just on steroids in that department, and they just want everything. Like Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest artists of all time, but he was a nutcase. He wanted Pink LeMay in his dressing room and all that, and if it wasn't the way he wanted it, he ripped it down.
Did that happen here?
Well, once or twice.
And are you responsible for getting them anything that they want?
Exactly.
Wow. I heard a rumor, so you're going to have to tell me if it's true. I heard a rumor that you had to create a toga party for someone inside the Steelers locker room?
Weight room.
In the weight room. All right, tell me the details.
And it was Axl Rose.
Oh, that's who it was?
Yes. It was at Three Rivers Stadium, and we had already served lunch to the band, and everything was going great. And I'm sitting there by myself having lunch. And boom, Axl Rose sits right across from me. He comes, he goes, "Rich," he goes, "you know it's my birthday." I go, "No," he goes, I want a party." I said, "Okay, we'll have a party." And he said, "No, I want a Greek toga party." And I go, "It sounds like an orgy." I said, he goes, "Well," I said, "I'd never been to anything like that." He goes, "Well, use your imagination." So I said, "How big do you want it?" He goes, "It's got to be fantastic." So I said, "Okay." So he yells over at his tour accountant. He goes, "Give him $10,000 or $15,000 right now." So they peel out the money. He goes, "Can we have a good party now?" I said, "I think we're going to have a good party, but it might be more. Who knows?" So I sent all my people to all different places, down the Strip District to get the netting to put up on the ceiling, and then down in the Strip District to get crates of grapes that we were going to hang down in the netting. So
The
it
real
looks-
grapes.
Real grapes. Real grapes. And then pinball machines, jacuzzis. What else did we? Oh, I said Rodi Road. They have all those statues out there at that place of peeing statues and spewing statues. I said, get them all. We'll put champagne in those things. So we had all those things come in. With forklifts bringing things in. We took all the weights out of the Steelers weight room, and now that became a party room. So you can imagine. So the moral of the story at the end, after Axl arrived, his band created a basket to carry him in on a basket with ferns waving him like a Greek god or whatever. And once he got in there, then it got like wild. And I laughed because nothing good could come out of this thing. I laughed, but at the end, they brought all the grapes down and rolling in the grapes, and it was like a huge mess. And for years, the Steelers couldn't get rid of the fruit flies from the corner.
Did they know that was
weight
because of
room.
you?
Oh, yeah, they knew. Yeah, they were really upset.
The Roonies didn't take kindly to the fruit flies. Huh?
Right.
I also heard that you had to give a pep talk to Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was going on?
That was quite a crazy thing. The manager, Jeff Kramer, came over to me. The show was at the Icy Light Amphitheater, which we owned down at Station Square. And Jeff comes over and he goes, "Hey, Bob's feeling really down, and I don't know what's wrong with him, but I need you to give him some inspirational or motivational kind of thing." And I go, I would never say no. So I thought.
What would you say to Bob Dylan?
I said, well, exactly. That's what was going through my mind. So I go, okay. He said, come over in about 20 minutes. Bob will be ready. He'll see you. I said, great. So I stand there for a second, and in my mind, I think, okay, what am I going to say? Then I get over that of what am I going to say, because I have no idea yet. I think back when I listened to Just Like a Rolling Stone on a little radio in my grade school, me scrubbing the floors after I had graduated. I had a $1 an hour job scrubbing the floors, and I'm listening to Bob Dylan on the radio. And now that same person that's listening to him there is going to give him a motivational speech. Hello. So,
What did you come up with?
Well, I thought, I knew the Icy Light Amphitheater was very special because where it was located. And Bob's back would be to the city and the backdrop of the city. And I talked to a lot of people going in that they were so excited to see him so up close like that. And so when I got in there, so I go into the office or into his dressing room. All the drapes were pulled, no lights on, just one little light on. And he comes out of the dressing room, and I go, "Hey, Bob, how are you?" He goes, "Oh, man, okay." And I go, "Well," I said, "I'm so glad I had a chance to talk to you." I said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but this gig is going to be extremely special for you. You're going to have a feeling that you never had in your life." He goes, "Wow." In Bob Dylan style. You don't get too much out of him. So I go, "Yes." I said, "You're going to have a feeling that'll come over you that it will be life-changing. It'll be incredible." I said, "Trust me, and I went on and on and on and on, painting as much as a nice picture as I could. And I said, "Don't forget." And I said, "By the way," I said, "will you play my guitar and sign it?" And so I put the guitar, I give it to him, he strums it, he goes, out of tune. I go, oh, sorry. So he puts it down, and most of the time I have to provide a matron, a lady that goes in and irons our clothes. She forgets to take the ironing board down. So the ironing board, he put the guitar on the ironing board. I give him the Sharpie. He leans on the ironing board. I look at him, he looks at me, and I'm thinking in my mind, come on, B-O-B. B-O-B. Yeah, so he goes, how's that? I go, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, and have a great show. Boom, I get out of there. And he brought 20 people on stage that danced around with him. Bob Dylan, I mean, he never did that. And it changed his life. But I never knew that it was life-changing because I didn't follow Bob Dylan to other cities. Other people told me many years later that he was a different person after that. So maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know.
Sounds like you had a major impact.
I had some kind of impact.
And Rich Engler's stories don't stop here. A look at what you'll see next week on For the Record is right after the break.